Ladies and gentlemen, the topic of our discourse is both simple and revolutionary. It's time to focus. Conquer your mind. But I assure you, what we are about to explore goes far beyond mere concentration or mental discipline. We are delving into the very essence of reality itself. You see, my dear friends, your mind is not just a tool for processing information or solving problems. It is the very foundation of your reality. It is the canvas upon which the entire drama of your life unfolds. And it is time. Yes, it is high time that you recognize this power and learn to wield it with intention and purpose. Now, when I speak of focus, I am not referring to the strained attention that you might apply to a difficult task. No, the focus I speak of is a state of being, a deliberate directing of your consciousness towards that which you desire to make manifest in your world. It is the art of seeing your desires and accomplishments, of living in the end result, of experiencing now what you wish to experience and what you perceive as the future. This focus, this conquering of the mind, is the key to unlocking the infinite potential that lies dormant within you. For you see, my friends, your outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world. The circumstances of your life, the events that unfold around you, the very fabric of your reality, all of these are projections of your own consciousness. Let us pause for a moment and truly contemplate this revolutionary idea. Can you grasp the magnitude of what I am saying? Your mind, your consciousness, is not merely observing reality. Every thought, every belief, every assumption you hold is shaping the world you experience. This is why it is crucial, absolutely vital, that you learn to focus your mind, to direct your consciousness with purpose and intention. Now, some of you may be thinking, but Neville, if my mind is creating my reality, why is my life not exactly as I wish it to be? My friends, this is where the true work begins. You see, most people go through life in a state of unconscious creation. Their minds are filled with doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs. And these mental states manifest as the very limitations they fear. But I am here to tell you that it doesn't have to be this way. You have the power to consciously create your reality, to shape your world according to your deepest desires. And the key to this power lies in your ability to focus, to conquer your mind. So how do we begin this grand endeavor? How do we take control of our minds and, by extension, all reality? The first step, my dear friends, is to become aware of your thoughts, your mental habits, your deeply held beliefs. For you cannot change what you do not acknowledge. Begin by observing your inner dialogue. What stories do you tell yourself about who you are, what you're capable of? What's possible for you? Are these stories empowering or limiting? Do they align with the reality you wish to create? Or do they reinforce the very circumstances you wish to change? This awareness is the foundation of all change. For once you become conscious of your thoughts, you gain the power to choose new thoughts. And remember, my friends, thoughts are things. They're the building blocks of your reality. Choose them wisely. Now, once you have cultivated this awareness, the next step is to deliberately choose thoughts and mental images that align with your desires. This is where the true art of focus comes into play. You must learn to hold in your mind's eye a clear, vivid image of your desire fulfilled. You must learn to experience in your imagination the joy, the satisfaction, the sense of accomplishment that would be yours if your desire were already realized. This, my friends, is the secret of effective prayer. For prayer is not a pleading with some external power. It is not a beseeching of a distant deity. No true prayer is the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It is the deliberate assumption of the state of consciousness you would occupy if your desire were already a fact in your world. Let me give you an example to illustrate this principle. Suppose you desire financial abundance. The common approach would be to focus on the lack of money, to worry about bills, to stress about how to make ends meet. But this focus only serves to perpetuate the very state of lack you wish to escape. Instead, I urge you to assume the feeling of wealth. In your imagination, feel the satisfaction of abundant bank accounts. Experience the joy of effortless bill payments. Live in your mind's eye the life of someone for whom financial abundance is a natural state of being. Do this with conviction, with the assurance that what you are imagining is not a mere fantasy, but a reality that is even now coming into being. You see, my friends, your imagination is not a place to escape reality. It is the very workshop in which reality is forged. What you habitually imagine, you will inevitably experience. This is why it is crucial to guard the gates of your mind, to be selective about the thoughts and images you entertain. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, this sounds like mere positive thinking. How can simply imagining something make it real? But you see, it is not mere positive thinking. It is an assumption of the reality of that which you desire. It is a complete identification with a state of consciousness that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. This is why I say it is time to focus, to conquer your mind. For in conquering your mind, you conquer your world. You must become the master of your inner kingdom, for it is from this kingdom that all outer circumstances arise. Let me share with you a powerful technique to aid you in this conquest. I call it the living in the end technique. Here's how it works. Before you go to sleep at night, construct a scene in your imagination that implies the fulfillment of your desire. Make this scene as vivid and as real as possible. Engage all your senses. See the details, hear the sounds, feel the textures, smell the scents that would be present if your desire were realized. Now enter into this scene. Don't just observe it as a spectator, but step into it as a participant. Feel the emotions you would feel if this were your current reality. Allow yourself to experience the joy, the satisfaction, the sense of accomplishment that would be yours. As you drift off to sleep, hold this scene in your mind. Let it be the last thing you think of before you enter the sleep state. You see, my friends, in the state of sleep, your conscious mind relaxes its hold, and your subconscious mind becomes more receptive. By impressing this scene upon your subconscious just before sleep, you are planting a seed that will grow into your future reality. Repeat this process night after night, and you will begin to see changes in your outer world. For remember, your outer world must conform to your inner assumptions. As within, so without. This is the law of your being, and it is infallible. Now, I want to address a concern that often arises when I share these teachings. Some of you may be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Surely we can't just imagine things and expect them to happen without any effort on our part. Let me be clear. Action is indeed a part of the manifestation process, but it is inspired action, action that flows naturally from your new state of consciousness. When you truly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you live in the end in your imagination, you will find yourself naturally and effortlessly taking the actions that lead to the realization of your desire. You see, once you have changed your concept of self, once you have assumed the consciousness of your wish fulfilled, your actions will automatically align with this new self-concept. You will find yourself doing things, saying things, making decisions that are in harmony with the reality you have imagined. And these inspired actions will be far more effective than any forced or strained efforts could ever be. This is why I say that the most important work is done in your imagination. For when you change your inner world, your outer world must change to match it. This is the law of your being, and it is absolute. Now let us delve deeper into the nature of focus in mind conquest. You see, my dear friends, your mind is like a garden. The thoughts you habitually think are the seeds you plant in this garden. And like any garden, what grows depends entirely on what you plant and how you tend to it. If you allow your mind to be filled with thoughts of lack, limitation, and fear, these are the seeds you are planting. And inevitably, these seeds will grow into the very circumstances you dread. But if you consciously choose to plant seeds of abundance, of success, of joy, and fulfillment, then these are the fruits your garden will bear. This is why conquering your mind is so crucial. It is not about forcing yourself to think positive thoughts. It is about becoming the conscious gardener of your own mind. It is about choosing with deliberate intention the thoughts and mental images you will entertain. It is about focusing your attention on that which you wish to make manifest in your life. Now, some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how can I maintain this focus? How can I keep my mind fixed on my desire when the current reality seems so different? This, my friends, is where the true test of your faith comes in. For you must have faith not in some external power, but in the power of your own imagination. You must understand that what you see in your outer world is nothing more than a shadow, the reflection of past thoughts and beliefs. It has no power to create your future unless you give it that power through your attention and belief. Your true power lies in your ability to imagine and feel a new reality into being. So when your current circumstances seem to contradict your desired state, do not be dismayed. Instead, turn within. Close your physical eyes to the seeming reality of the outer world and open your inner eye to the reality you wish to experience. Feel it, live it, know it to be true in the depths of your being. For I tell you truly, what you can imagine and feel is real. You can manifest in your outer world. This, my dear friends, is the essence of focus. It is not about straining or struggling. It is about choosing where to place your attention, where to direct the power of your consciousness. And as you practice this outer-focused imagination, you will find that it becomes easier and more natural. You will discover that you have the power to shift your state of consciousness at will, to assume any state you desire. Now let us speak of persistence, for it is a crucial element in this work of focusing and conquering the mind. You see, my friends, the beliefs and thought patterns that have shaped your current reality are deeply ingrained. They have been reinforced over years, perhaps even lifetimes. They will not be changed overnight, but do not let this discourage you. For every time you choose to focus on your desire, every time you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are weakening the old patterns and strengthening the new. You are literally reshaping the landscape of your mind, and by extension, the fabric of your reality. Think of it like carving a new path through a dense forest. The first time you walk this path, it may be difficult. You may encounter resistance, obstacles, but with each passing, the path becomes clearer, easier to traverse, and eventually becomes the natural way, the path of least resistance. So too with your mind. At first, holding the focus on your desire may feel challenging. The old thoughts, the old beliefs may try to reassert themselves. But with persistence, with faithful attention to the reality you wish to create, the new path becomes established. The new state of consciousness becomes your natural state of being. This is why I urge you to persist in your imaginal acts. Do not be discouraged if you do not see immediate results in your outer world. Remember, you are working at the causal level of reality. The outer world must reshape itself to match your inner assumptions. And this may take time in your physical experience. But I assure you, the law is infallible. What you persist in imagining and feeling as real must and will become your reality. This is not wishful thinking, my friends. This is the very law by which the universe operates. Now let's address another aspect of conquering the mind. The management of your emotional states. You see, my dear friends, your emotions are incredibly powerful. They are the fuel that gives life and power to your thoughts and imaginal. When you combine a clear mental image with a corresponding emotion, you create a potent force for manifestation. This is why it's not enough to simply visualize your desire. You must feel it. You must experience the emotion that would be yours if your desire were already fulfilled. If you desire wealth, feel the security, the freedom, the joy that wealth would bring. If you desire a loving relationship, feel the love, the companionship, the deep connection in every fiber of your being. If you desire perfect health, feel the vitality, the strength, the well-being coursing through your body. These emotions, combined with your mental images, create what I call feeling tones. And it is these feeling tones that shape your reality. For the universe responds not to your words or even your conscious thoughts, but to the sum total of your mental and emotional states. This is why conquering your mind also means mastering your emotions. It means cultivating the ability to generate and sustain the emotional states that correspond to your desires. And this, my friends, is a skill that can be developed with practice. One powerful technique for this is what I call living from the end. This involves not just imagining your desire as fulfilled, but actually living your day as if it were already a reality. Make decisions, interact with others. Carry yourself in a manner consistent with the person who already has what you desire. If you're seeking a promotion at work, carry yourself with the confidence and authority of someone in that higher position. If you're manifesting improved health, move and act with the vitality and energy of a perfectly healthy person. If you're calling in your ideal partner, interact with others with the joy and openness of someone who's deeply in love. By doing this, you are not just imagining a new reality, you are embodying it. You are bringing it into being through your very way of being in the world. And as you do this, you will find that your outer world begins to shift and change to match this new state of consciousness. Now, I want to address a question that often arises when I share these teachings. Many ask, but Neville, what about other people? Can we use these techniques to change others or to make specific individuals act in certain ways? My friends, let me be clear on this point. The purpose of this work is not to control or manipulate others. It is to transform yourself, to realize the divine power within you. When you change yourself, when you assume a new state of consciousness, you will find that others naturally respond to you differently. You see, everyone in your world is yourself pushed out. They are reflections of your own consciousness. So when you change your concept of yourself, when you assume a new state of being, the people in your world must change in their behavior towards you, not because you are controlling them, but because they are responding to the new you. This is why I say that there is no one to change but self. There is no one to command but self. For when you conquer your own mind, when you assume the consciousness is your wish fulfilled, the entire world reshapes itself to match your new self-concept. This understanding liberates you from the need to try to change others. It frees you from the frustration of attempting to manipulate external circumstances. Instead, it empowers you to focus on the one thing you have complete control of, your own state of consciousness. Now let us delve deeper into the mechanics of this process. How exactly does a change in your consciousness create change in your outer world? To understand this, we must explore the nature of time in the structure of reality itself. You see, my dear friends, time as you typically perceive it, as a linear progression from past to present to future, is an illusion. In truth, all time exists simultaneously. The past, present, and future are all occurring now in this eternal moment of creation. What you perceive as the future is simply a state of consciousness that you have not yet assumed. And what you think of as the past is a state you have moved out of. But all states exist now, and you have the power to select and occupy any state you choose. This is why I often say that creation is finished. All possible states of being already exist. Your job is not to create these states, but to select and occupy them through the power of your imagination and feeling. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, when you occupy the state of consciousness of your desire realized, you are not creating something new. You are selecting and making real in your experience a state that already exists in the infinite sea of consciousness. This is why your imaginal acts are so powerful. When you imagine and feel your desire as real, you are literally stepping into that reality. You are aligning your consciousness with a version of reality where your desire is already fulfilled. And here's the truly miraculous part. Once you align your consciousness with this desired state, once you truly occupy it in your imagination and feeling, the outer world must reshape itself to match this inner reality. This is not magic or wishful thinking. It is the law of your being, as real and as reliable as the law of gravity. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, this sounds too good to be true. Surely it can't be this simple. And to this I say, yes, it is this simple. But simple does not mean easy. It requires a complete revolution in your thinking, a total transformation of your concept of reality and your place in it. You must be willing to let go of your old beliefs about the nature of reality. You must be willing to release your attachment to current circumstances. You must be brave enough to imagine and feel a new reality into being, even when your senses tell you otherwise. This is why I say it's time to focus. to conquer your mind. For in this conquest lies your freedom, your power, your ability to shape your world according to your desire. As we draw our discussion to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought. The work we've explored today, this art of focused imagination, this conquest of the mind, is not just about manifesting your desires. It's about awakening to your true nature. It is about realizing the divine power that resides within you. You see, my dear friends, you are not separate from the creative power of the universe. You are that power individualized. Your imagination is not just a faculty of your mind. It is the very creative power of God operating in and through you. When you imagine, you're performing the divine act of creation. So as you go forth from here, I urge you to claim this power. Use it wisely and lovingly. Remember that your mind is the garden in which the seeds of your future are planted. Tend it carefully. Focus your attention on that which you wish to make manifest. Conquer the doubts, the fears, the limiting beliefs that held you back. Assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled and watch as your world transforms to match your inner state. And above all, persist. For in your persistence lies your power. The world may not change overnight, but I promise you this, as you maintain your focus, as you faithfully occupy the state of your wish fulfilled, your outer world must and will conform to your inner assumptions. This is the law, and it cannot fail. Go now and create consciously, for the time has come to focus, to conquer your mind, and in so doing, to conquer your world.
I want to remind you today that God has a plan for your life. It's not a plan of confusion, fear, or uncertainty. It's a plan of hope, purpose, and divine timing. Sometimes we look at our lives and wonder why things aren't happening the way we expected. We pray, we believe, we do our best, yet it feels like we're stuck in the waiting room of life. But I want you to know that God is never late. He's never behind schedule. His timing is always perfect. You may not see it right now, but every delay, every closed door, and every unexpected turn is leading you closer to the destiny He has prepared for you. The scripture says in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future." That means before you were even born, God already laid out the blueprint of your life. He knew every challenge you would face, every victory you would celebrate, and every moment where you would have to trust Him completely. But here's the challenge. We often get impatient. We want things to happen on our timeline. We pray and expect instant results. When it doesn't happen, we start questioning. God, did you forget about me? Have you abandoned me? Why are things taking so long? But I want to encourage you today. Just because you don't see anything happening doesn't mean God isn't working behind the scenes. Just because the answer hasn't come yet doesn't mean God has denied your request. Sometimes He's preparing you for what He has prepared for you. Think about Joseph in the Bible. He had a dream that one day he would be in a position of great influence. But before that dream became reality, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and placed in prison. For years, it looked like nothing was happening. It seemed like God had forgotten about him. But what Joseph didn't realize was that in every setback, God was setting him up for something greater. The very things that looked like obstacles were actually stepping stones leading him to his destiny. Maybe you're in a place right now where you don't understand why things are taking so long. You've been praying for a breakthrough, believing for a promotion, trusting God for a relationship, but nothing seems to be moving. Let me remind you, just because you don't see it doesn't mean God isn't working. He's aligning the right people, opening the right doors, and putting everything in place. He knows when you're ready. He knows when the situation is ready. And when it's time, no force on earth can stop His plan from unfolding. You don't have to try to force things to happen. You don't have to live frustrated, wondering when it's going to work out. God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are beyond what we can imagine. If He is making you wait, it's because the blessing He has in store for you is worth the wait. He's growing your faith. He's developing your character. He's strengthening you so that when you step into what He has promised, you'll be ready to handle it. Think about an eagle. Before it takes flight, it sits in the nest, waiting for the right moment. The mother eagle knows that if the baby eagle tries to fly too soon, it won't have the strength to soar, so she waits. She allows the eagle to grow stronger, to develop its wings, to build endurance, and when the time is right, she pushes the eagle out of the nest and it begins to soar. That's what God is doing in your life. You may feel like you're in a waiting season, but God is strengthening your wings. He's preparing you to soar higher than you ever imagined. Sometimes the delays we face are not denials, they're divine protections. God is keeping you from something that isn't right for you. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and thank Him for not answering certain prayers the way you wanted. You'll see that His plan was far greater than anything you could have imagined. Maybe you've been praying for a certain job and the door keeps closing. Maybe you've been believing for a relationship, but things aren't working out. Instead of getting discouraged, start thanking God. Thank Him that He's in control. Thank Him that He knows what's best. Thank Him that He's directing your steps. When you release control and trust in His timing, you're showing God that you have faith. Abraham and Sarah had to wait years for their promised child. They tried to take matters into their own hands, and it only led to frustration. But when they finally surrendered, when they stopped trying to force it and trusted God's timing, the promise came to pass. If God has put a dream in your heart, if He's given you a vision for your future, don't give up just because it's taking longer than expected. The delay doesn't mean denial. It means God is getting everything in place. When you trust God's timing, you can live in peace. You don't have to be anxious. You don't have to wonder if things will work out. You know that at the right time, God will bring the right opportunity, the right people, and the right breakthrough. It may not happen the way you thought, but His way is always better. I want to encourage you today. Keep believing. Keep standing in faith. Keep trusting that God's plan for your life is unfolding in the perfect way, even when you don't see it, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Know that behind the scenes, God is orchestrating something greater than you could ever imagine. The waiting season is never wasted. It's a season of preparation, of growth, and of positioning for what's next. The waiting season is never wasted. It's a season of preparation, of growth, and of positioning for what's next. When you look back at your life, you realize that the moments when you had to wait, when things didn't seem to be moving, were actually the moments when God was working the most. He was shifting things in your favor, putting the right people in place, and aligning your steps with His perfect will. So often we get caught up in what hasn't happened yet. We focus on what we don't have, on the prayers that haven't been answered, on the dreams that seem so far away. But God is saying, trust me. I see the bigger picture. I know the perfect timing. You may not understand it now, but every closed door, every delay, and every unanswered prayer is setting you up for something far greater than you could ever imagine. Maybe right now you're facing a season where it feels like nothing is happening. You're praying, believing, standing in faith, but you don't see any movement. Let me encourage you, just because you don't see it doesn't mean God isn't working. He's moving behind the scenes, arranging things in your favor, preparing you for the next level. The delay is not a denial. It's a divine setup for something greater. Think about David. He was anointed to be king at a young age, but he didn't step into that position right away. He had to go through years of preparation, facing battles, overcoming obstacles, and proving his faithfulness. He could have gotten discouraged, thinking, God, you said I was going to be king. Why is it taking so long? But David understood that God's timing was perfect. He didn't try to force things to happen. He didn't get bitter. He didn't walk away from God's promises. He stayed faithful in the waiting, and at the right time, God elevated him. Maybe you're in a place right now where you feel like you're being overlooked. Others are getting promoted, getting married, stepping into their calling, and you feel like you're stuck in the background. But let me tell you, just because you're hidden doesn't mean you're forgotten. Just because you don't see progress doesn't mean God isn't positioning you. There's something powerful about trusting God when you don't understand. When you say, God, I don't know why it's taking so long, but I trust you, I believe your plan is bigger than mine, that's when you position yourself for favor. There's a story in the Bible about the Israelites. God had promised them the land of Canaan, a land flowing with milk and honey, but instead of taking them straight there, he led them through the wilderness. What should have been an 11-day journey took 40 years. Why? Because they weren't ready. They had the wrong mindset. They were complaining, doubting, and focusing on what they didn't have. And because they wouldn't trust God's timing, they missed out on what He had for them. Don't let that be your story. Don't let impatience rob you of your destiny. You may not see the full picture now, but God knows what He's doing. If He's making you wait, it's because He's preparing something greater than what you had in mind. You have to come to a place where you trust Him so completely that even when things don't make sense, even when the doors don't open, even when it feels like nothing is changing, you still say, God, I trust you. I know you are working all things together for my good. Think about Noah. God told him to build an ark because a flood was coming. It had never rained before, and people thought he was crazy. But Noah didn't question God. He didn't say, God, are you sure? This doesn't make sense. No, he trusted God's plan even when he didn't understand it. For years, he kept building, kept preparing, kept believing. And when the flood finally came, he and his family were safe because he had obeyed. Maybe right now, God is asking you to build something. Maybe He's telling you to prepare, even though you don't see any signs of what's coming. People may not understand. They may question you, criticize you, laugh at you. But you have to trust that if God told you to do it, He has a reason. Keep building, keep preparing, keep believing. Because when the time is right, God is going to open doors that no one can shut. One of the greatest tests of faith is trusting God when you don't have all the answers. It's easy to trust Him when everything is going smoothly, when the finances are there, when the opportunities are lining up. But real faith is trusting Him when nothing makes sense. When you're waiting, when you're wondering, when you're tempted to doubt, that's when your faith is being strengthened. The enemy wants you to get discouraged in the waiting. He wants you to start questioning God's goodness, to start doubting His promises. But you have to make up your mind that no matter how long it takes, you're not going to lose faith. You're not going to let fear, frustration, or impatience take over. You're going to stand firm, knowing that God is faithful. There are some things in life that only God can do. You can't force the right doors to open. You can't make certain opportunities happen. But you can position yourself by staying faithful, by keeping the right attitude, by refusing to give up. When you do that, you're showing God that you trust Him, and He will reward your faithfulness. I've learned that sometimes God delays things because what He has planned is bigger than what we imagined. If He gave it to us too soon, we wouldn't be able to handle it. The blessing would be too much. So He takes us through a process, through a season of stretching, of growing, of learning to depend on Him. And when the time is right, He brings the breakthrough, and we realize that every moment of waiting was worth it. Think about a farmer. He plants the seeds, waters them, takes care of them, but he doesn't see the harvest right away. He has to trust that beneath the soil something is happening. Even when he doesn't see any signs of growth, he knows that in the right season, the harvest will come. That's how it is with God's timing. You may not see anything happening right now, but beneath the surface, He's growing something in you. He's strengthening your faith. He's preparing you for what's ahead. You have to trust that when it's time, your breakthrough will come. When it's time, the right door will open. When it's time, the promise will be fulfilled. Until then, keep being faithful, keep showing up, keep believing that God's plan is greater than anything you could ever dream of. You may have moments where you feel like giving up, where you wonder if God is really hearing your prayers. But let me remind you, God is not a man that he should lie. If he said it, he will do it. If he promised it, it will come to pass. It may not happen when you want it to, but it will happen at the right time. God is saying, trust me. I've got you in the palm of my hand. I know what I'm doing. I haven't forgotten about you. I'm leading you to something greater. You don't have to figure everything out. You don't have to have all the answers. Just trust in the one who does. He's working, he's moving, and he's leading you to a place of blessing beyond anything you could ever imagine. You may not realize it, but right now God is arranging things in your favor. He is positioning you for the breakthrough, for the opportunity, for the answered prayer. You may not see anything changing, but that doesn't mean he's not working. What he promised is still on schedule. The people you need to fulfill your destiny are already lined up. The resources, the favor, the open doors, they are on their way. During the day that you are not aware, the night. But here's the key. You have to trust his timing. If you get impatient and try to make things happen in your own strength, you may step outside of his best. Sarah and Abraham made that mistake. God promised them a child, but when years went by and nothing happened, they decided to help God out. Sarah told Abraham to sleep with her maidservant Hagar so they could have a child. It seemed like a good idea at the time, but it wasn't God's plan. That decision led to heartache, strife, and division in their family. When God gives you a promise, it's not your job to figure out how it will happen. It's not your job to force it to come to pass. Your job is to trust, to believe, and to stay faithful. God doesn't need your help to fulfill his word. He doesn't need you to manipulate circumstances or try to open doors that he hasn't opened. When it's the right time, he will make it happen, and it will be better than anything you could have arranged. Maybe you've been praying for a breakthrough, believing for a promotion, standing in faith for a dream to come to pass. You've done everything you know to do, but nothing is happening. You're tempted to get discouraged, to start doubting, to question whether it's ever going to work out. But let me remind you, just because it's taking time doesn't mean God has changed his mind. Delay does not mean denial. There's a reason for the wait. Sometimes God is protecting you from something you can't see. Sometimes he's strengthening your character so you'll be ready for what's ahead. Sometimes he's making sure all the pieces are in place so that when the door opens, you will walk into it with confidence. Look at Joseph. God gave him a dream that he would be a leader, that he would rule over nations. But instead of stepping right into that position, Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and later put in prison for something he didn't even do. If anyone had a reason to question God's timing, it was Joseph. He could have thought, God, I had a dream. I know you called me. Why is this happening? But Joseph didn't give up. He didn't let the delays cause him to lose faith. He stayed faithful where he was. He kept honoring God, kept serving with excellence, kept believing. And at the right time, after years of waiting, Joseph was promoted to second in command over all of Egypt. What if Joseph had given up in the prison? What if he had let discouragement talk him out of his destiny? He would have never seen the fulfillment of what God had promised. Some of you are in a waiting season right now. You've been faithful. You've been doing the right thing, but it feels like you're stuck. Nothing is changing. You're wondering, God, when is it going to happen? Let me encourage you. Don't lose faith. Don't give up just because it's taking longer than you expected. The same God who was faithful to Joseph, who turned his situation around overnight, is the same God who is working in your life. At the right time, in a moment, God will shift things. One phone call, one divine connection, one idea, one opportunity, and suddenly everything will change. The years of waiting, the struggles, the disappointments, they will all make sense. You will look back and say, now I understand why it had to happen this way. The enemy will try to convince you that nothing is happening. He'll whisper, if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. But God's timing is not our timing. A delay is not a defeat. A waiting season is not a wasted season. God is using this time to prepare you, to grow you, to strengthen your faith. He is molding you into the person you need to be for the blessing He has prepared. Sometimes God withholds things from us because He loves us too much to give them to us too soon. Think about a child who wants to drive a car. They may be eager, excited, convinced they are ready. But a loving parent won't hand them the keys until they are mature enough to handle it. It's not that the parent doesn't want them to have the car, it's that they want them to have it at the right time, when it won't destroy them. In the same way, God has amazing things in store for you, but He's not going to release them until He knows you're ready. If He gave you the promotion too soon, you might not have the character to handle the pressure. If He gave you the relationship before you were emotionally healed, it might not last. If He gave you the opportunity before you were prepared, it might overwhelm you. God knows what He's doing. He is a God of perfect timing. He sees what you cannot see. He knows what you do not know. If He's asking you to wait, it's because He's preparing something better than what you had in mind. The delay is not punishment, it's preparation. It's God's way of getting you ready for what He has in store. While you're waiting, don't get discouraged. Keep your faith strong. Keep praising, keep believing, keep expecting. Speak life over your situation. Declare, God, I know you are faithful. I may not see it yet, but I trust you. I believe my breakthrough is coming. When you keep the right attitude in the waiting, you are setting yourself up for a suddenly moment. God has not forgotten you. He has seen every sacrifice, every tear, every moment of faithfulness. He has heard every prayer, and He is working behind the scenes. The moment He has planned for you is already on the calendar. At the right time, you're going to see His favor, His breakthrough, His increase. You don't have to figure out how it's going to happen. You don't have to manipulate things or make it happen in your own strength. Just be still and know that He is God. Trust that He is leading you, guiding you, and working all things together for your good. If you stay in faith, if you keep believing, if you don't let the enemy talk you out of it, then at the right time the promise will come to pass. What God has spoken over your life will happen. The waiting will be worth it. The delay will make sense, and you will step into the fullness of everything He has planned for you. The breakthrough is coming. The doors will open. The healing will manifest. The opportunity will come. Keep trusting, keep believing, and keep expecting, because your time is on the way. You might be facing challenges right now. You may be battling sickness, financial difficulties, or feeling stuck in life. But I want to tell you, don't let your circumstances dictate your future. You are not at the mercy of life's ups and downs. You are a child of the Most High God, and He has a plan for you that will not be thwarted by any obstacle or setback. God has a destiny for you, and that destiny is filled with promise, favor, and blessings beyond what you can imagine. But you have to walk by faith, not by sight. You have to trust that even when things look bleak, God is working on your behalf. The scripture says, we walk by faith and not by sight. And the scripture says, Im gon elivona I esheno. It's easy to walk by faith when everything is going well, when your plans are unfolding perfectly, when your dreams are coming true. But the true test of faith comes when things aren't going according to plan, when life throws unexpected twists your way. That's when you have to trust that God is still in control. That's when you have to remind yourself that His plan is better than your plan, and His timing is better than your timing. You see, faith is not just believing that God can do something. It's believing that He will. It's trusting that He is working in the background even when you can't see the evidence. Faith is believing that your breakthrough is coming even when the road ahead looks uncertain. It's choosing to trust God's plan for your life even when you don't have all the answers. And God will never leave you in the dark. He promises in His word that He will direct your steps. Proverbs 3:05-06 says, Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. It doesn't say that you'll always understand what's going on. It doesn't say that everything will always be smooth and easy, but it does say that if you trust in Him, He will guide you. He will make your path straight. That means no matter how winding or difficult the road may seem, God will direct you. He will lead you to where you need to be. He will open the right doors and close the wrong ones. You may not see it now, but trust that He is working behind the scenes. Just because you can't see the answer doesn't mean He hasn't already worked it out. There are times in life when you will face things that are beyond your understanding, things that don't make sense, things that challenge your faith. But I want to encourage you today, when you don't understand, you don't have to panic. You don't have to be afraid. You don't have to get anxious. All you have to do is trust. Trust that God has a plan. Trust that He is faithful. Trust that He will make everything work together for your good in His perfect timing. I know it's not always easy. I know it's not always comfortable. Sometimes you feel like you've been waiting forever. But let me remind you, God doesn't waste anything. The seasons you're in right now, the challenges, the struggles, they are not wasted. God is using them to prepare you for what's ahead. What you are going through today is part of His plan to shape you into the person you need to be. If you find yourself in a waiting season, don't get discouraged. God is not ignoring you. He is preparing you. You are in His waiting room, and in this waiting room, He is doing something deep inside of you. He is strengthening your faith. He is building your character. He is developing your patience. He is teaching you to trust Him more. And when you come out of this season, you will be stronger, wiser, and more prepared to handle the blessings that are coming your way. You see, the waiting season is not a season of stagnation. It's not a season of wasted time. It's a season of preparation. God is working in you, shaping you, molding you, making you ready for the things He has for you. Don't rush through it. Don't try to skip ahead. Embrace the process. Stay faithful where you are. Keep trusting, keep believing, keep praising. You may not understand it all right now, but trust that God has a purpose in the waiting. He's making sure you're ready for the next level. And when He opens the door, you'll be ready to step into everything He has prepared for you. In the meantime, I encourage you to keep your heart in a place of gratitude. You may not have everything you want yet, but you have everything you need. You may not see the breakthrough yet, but you have God's favor on your life. You may not be where you want to be, but you are closer than you were yesterday. And while you wait, thank Him for what He's doing in you and around you. Gratitude is a powerful thing. It shifts your perspective. It reminds you of how far you've come and how much God has already done in your life. It keeps your heart in a place of faith. It reminds you that God is good, that He is faithful, and that He has not forgotten you. One of the greatest things you can do while you wait is to keep your focus on God's promises. Don't focus on the delay. Don't focus on what's not happening. Focus on what God has already promised you. Remember His word. He says He will provide for you. He says He will heal you. He says He will open doors that no man can shut. He says He will restore what has been lost. Focus on those promises. In Philippians 4:6-7, the Apostle Paul writes, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This scripture tells us not to be anxious about anything. I know it's easier said than done, but if you can trust God's plan, you can experience peace in the waiting. When you trust that God is working on your behalf, when you trust that He is arranging things in your favor, you can rest, you can relax, you don't have to worry. Let me tell you, God's peace is powerful. It's not the kind of peace the world offers. It's not the kind of peace that comes from having everything figured out or knowing how things are going to turn out. It's the kind of peace that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, God is in control. When you have that kind of peace, you can endure the waiting season. You can keep your joy, you can keep your praise, you can keep your faith. You don't have to let the uncertainty of the future rob you of the peace God has already given you. Remember, God is faithful to His promises. He will fulfill what He has spoken over your life. His plan is bigger than any setback. His timing is perfect. Trust that He is working in your life even when you don't see it. Keep believing, keep trusting, keep praising. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is on the way. The promises God has made will come to pass. And when it does, you will look back and see how God has been working behind the scenes, making all things beautiful in His time. Trust His timing. He is never late. He is always right on time.
Consider for a moment those times in your life when you felt lost, uncertain, not knowing which path to take or what action to pursue. Perhaps you're in such a situation right now. The world around you may seem chaotic, options may appear limited, and the future uncertain. But I say unto you, in these very moments of apparent confusion and indecision lies your greatest opportunity for growth and manifestation. But what is this that you must do when you don't know what to do? It is not a matter of external action or logical analysis. It is a state of consciousness, a shift in your very being that aligns you with the creative power of the universe. It is about recognizing that the answer, the guidance, the path forward is already within you, waiting to be imagined into being. Let us delve deeper into this profound truth. Your outer world, every experience you have, every circumstance you encounter, is nothing more than a reflection of your inner world, your consciousness. It is a mirror faithfully reflecting back to you the sum total of your beliefs, assumptions, and most importantly, your imaginal acts. When you understand this, truly understand it, you realize that by carefully choosing and vividly imagining a desired state, even in the face of uncertainty, you are actively creating a new reality that will unfold in your experience. This understanding is crucial, for it shifts the entire paradigm of how you approach moments of uncertainty. No longer are you a helpless being at the mercy of external circumstances, desperately seeking guidance from the outside world. You become the active creator of your reality, knowing that as you imagine and feel a desired state, the universe must rearrange itself to match this new inner assumption, providing the guidance and clarity you seek. But how, you may ask, can one tap into this inner wisdom when the outer world seems so chaotic and uncertain? The answer lies in the creative power of your wonderful human imagination, combined with the intensity of your feeling and belief. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker, and your feelings are not mere reactions to external stimuli. Together, they form the very workshop in which reality is forged. Let us take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind, which is one with the universal creative force, does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and feel as true and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true in your imaginal acts. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality, regardless of how uncertain or impossible the situation may seem to your rational mind. So when you find yourself in a moment of confusion, not knowing what to do, this is what you must do. Turn within to your imagination. Create a scene that implies your desired outcome has already been realized. Feel the relief, the clarity, the certain knowing the perfect path has been revealed to you. Live in this imaginal act as though it were your physical reality. This, my dear listeners, is the essence of what to do when you don't know what to do. It is about recognizing that the power to shape your reality, to find clarity in confusion, lies within you, waiting to be expressed through your conscious imaginal acts. It is about understanding that your outer world of uncertainty is nothing more than a reflection of your inner conversations and imaginal acts, which can be radically altered by assuming a new state in imagination. Consider the biblical phrase, "Be still and know that I am God." This is not a mere poetic expression or a call for passive acceptance. It is a statement of cosmic law, an invitation to recognize the power of your inner being. When you become still, when you quiet the chatter of your worried mind and enter into your imagination, you are connecting with the God presence within you, the source of all wisdom and guidance. But let me be clear, this turning within, this use of your imagination in moments of uncertainty is not about escapism or denial of your current circumstances. It is about a total immersion in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, of the perfect solution already realized. When you truly embody this practice, you naturally assume the thoughts, feelings, and inner conversations of the person who has already received the guidance they seek. You go to sleep not as the person bound by uncertainty and confusion, but as the person who is clear, confident, and moving purposefully towards their desired outcome. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a person facing a critical decision in their life, perhaps choosing between two career paths, unsure of which to pursue. Their outer reality shows no clear signs of which path to take. Now imagine this person deciding to turn within to their imagination. As they quiet their mind, they create a scene that implies they have already made the perfect choice and are thriving in their new career. They feel the satisfaction, the certainty, the joy of knowing they are on the right path. They allow this feeling to permeate every cell of their being. They live in this imaginal act not just for a moment, but they return to it again and again, especially as they drift off to sleep at night. When they awaken, something has shifted. They may not see immediate external changes in their circumstances, but internally, they are no longer the same person. They have experienced the reality of clarity and certainty, and this new self-concept begins to reshape their outer world. In the days and weeks that follow, they find themselves naturally drawn to information, people, and opportunities related to one of the career paths. They approach the decision-making process with a newfound sense of calm and confidence. Ideas and insights that were previously obscured suddenly become clear. And as they continue to live from this state of clarity and certainty in their imagination, their outer world begins to reflect this inner knowing. The perfect path reveals itself, often in ways they could never have logically planned or anticipated. This principle applies to every aspect of your life where you find yourself uncertain or not knowing what to do. Whether you're facing a relationship challenge, a health concern, a financial decision, or any other situation that leaves you feeling lost, the key is to first assume the state of clarity and knowing in your imagination. Feel the reality of having perfect guidance, of knowing exactly what to do. Live in that state, in your imagination, and knowing that as you do so, you are planting a seed in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind that must grow into your outer reality. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, how can simply imagining a solution really provide guidance when I truly don't know what to do? Surely I need to gather more information or seek advice from others. And to this I say external information and advice can certainly play a role, but they are secondary to the wisdom that comes from within. When you turn to your imagination first, when you assume the state of clarity and knowing, you align yourself with infinite intelligence. From this aligned state, you will be guided to the right information, the right people, the right circumstances that will support your desired outcome. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that gives life to your experiences. When you remain in a state of confusion and uncertainty, constantly seeking answers outside yourself, you are breathing life into a reality that perpetuates that confusion. But when you turn within, when you assume the state of clarity, and knowing in your imagination, you set in motion a series of events that must culminate in the outer expression of this new inner reality. This, my dear friends, is the true secret to knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. It is about aligning your inner conversations and imaginal acts with the state of clarity and guidance, recognizing that this desired reality is seeking expression through you, and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your imagination and unwavering belief. But let me warn you, this shift in consciousness, this practice of turning within when faced with uncertainty, is not always an easy task. The old habits of worry, of seeking answers outside yourself, of feeling lost and confused, are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. As you embark on this new way of approaching uncertainty, you may find resistance arising within you. Doubts may creep in. Old thought patterns may try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts and feelings. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your imaginal act of clarity and knowing. For the war is not won by battling against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying what you do want. This persistence, this unwavering commitment to living in a state of clarity and guidance in your imagination, even in the face of outer uncertainty, is what allows you to truly transform your reality. Think of it like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, you don't need to fight against your chaos of confusion or forcefully push away thoughts of uncertainty. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of clarity and guidance, to align your entire consciousness with the reality where you know exactly what to do. This tuning is done through your imagination and your ability to generate feeling states. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to fully embody the state of clarity and knowing, as you feel the reality of being divinely guided, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, this is not a one-time event. Turning within and using your imagination when you don't know what to do is a practice, a way of life. It's a constant choice to maintain this new approach to uncertainty, regardless of appearances. Just as you wouldn't expect to stay in shape by exercising once, you cannot expect to master this practice by using it once. This is about persistently turning within, about maintaining the consciousness of clarity and divine guiding in and day out until it becomes your new normal. As you do this, you will find that your perception of uncertainty begins to shift. What once seemed like confusing, chaotic situations now appear as opportunities for growth and new possibilities. Challenges become stepping stones to greater understanding. You begin to see yourself as the empowered being you truly are, knowing that divine guidance is always available to you through your imagination. Now some of you may be wondering, but Neville, how can I maintain this practice of turning within when my outer world still seems uncertain? How can I persist in feeling clarity and guidance when circumstances seem to contradict it? And to this I say, your imagination infused with feeling is more powerful than any circumstance. Consider for a moment, have you ever been deeply moved by a story, whether in a book or a movie? In those moments, were you not feeling real emotions based on imaginary events? Your feelings were real, even though the events were not happening in your physical reality. This is the power you must harness when you turn within in moments of uncertainty. You must use your imagination to create scenarios that evoke the feelings associated with having perfect clarity and guidance. Imagine how you would feel if you knew with absolute certainty the perfect path to take. Feel the relief, the confidence, the sense of peace that would come with this knowing. Feel these states as vividly and as consistently as you can. The key is to make your imaginal act as real to you as possible. Engage all your senses. Feel the sensations in your body associated with clarity and confidence. Hear the words of wisdom that come from within. See yourself moving through your life with purpose and direction. Make it so real that your rational mind cannot distinguish between this inner experience and physical reality. But here's a crucial point, my friends. The goal is not to imagine specific solutions or outcomes. The goal is to capture the essence of the feeling state associated with having divine guidance and knowing exactly what to do. For it is this feeling state that is the true attractor of your experiences. Let me illustrate this with an example. Instead of trying to imagine the specific details of a solution to resolve, capture the feeling essence of being divinely guided. Imagine a warm, comforting light filling your being, bringing with it a sense of absolute knowing. Feel the peace, the certainty, the alignment that comes with this state. See yourself moving through your day with an unshakable confidence, knowing that each step you take is divinely guided. By focusing on the feeling essence rather than specific outcomes, you allow the universe to bring your solution to you in ways that might far exceed your specific imaginings. You open yourself to possibilities beyond what your current mindset can conceive. This is the true art of knowing what to do when you don't know what to do. It's not about forcing yourself to come up with a solution through sheer willpower. It's about aligning yourself with the truth of your divine nature, your oneness with the creative power of the universe. It's about living each day from the state of being divinely guided regardless of outer appearances. As you practice this, you may find that your outer world begins to shift in subtle ways. Perhaps you start to notice more synchronicities in your life, or you find yourself naturally drawn to information or people that provide the guidance you seek, or solutions to problems that once seemed impossible begin to present themselves effortlessly. These are all signs that your inner shift, brought about by turning within, is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your imaginal acts are taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from the state of divine guidance in your imagination. As you persist in this practice, larger changes will begin to manifest. You may find yourself navigating complex situations with ease and grace. You may notice that decisions that once paralyzed you with uncertainty now become clear and obvious. You may achieve outcomes you once thought impossible with a sense of effortless alignment. And as you continue to turn within and live from the state of divine guidance, you'll discover that life becomes an exciting adventure of ever-unfolding clarity and purpose. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which all desired experiences naturally flow. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you're truly embodying the state of being divinely guided, when you're fully living from this consciousness, you no longer need external circumstances to confirm your state. You're already whole, already complete in your knowing that you are always divinely guided. And paradoxically, it's in this state of inner assurance that you're most likely to experience a life where you always know exactly what to do. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do things in the physical world to find solutions and make decisions? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process. But it's inspired action, not anxious doing. When you're consistently turning within and living from the state of divine guidance, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like struggle or effort. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between trying to figure things out through sheer mental effort and allowing solutions to unfold naturally. When you're trying to force clarity, actions feel stressful, born out of fear and uncertainty. When you're living from the consciousness of divine guidance, actions flow naturally from your aligned state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly what steps to take. Consider the example of a river flowing to the sea. The river doesn't strain to find its path. It doesn't force its way through obstacles. It simply flows, naturally finding the path of least resistance. You, my dear listeners, are no different. When you align yourself with the consciousness of divine guidance through your imagination, you allow your life to unfold naturally and beautifully, always knowing the perfect steps to take. But let me be clear, this state of allowing is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate and focused embodiment of the state of being divinely guided. It requires faith, not blind faith in external circumstances, but faith in the creative power of your consciousness and your ability to always know what to do through your connection with infinite intelligence. This faith is not about believing that you'll figure things out someday in the future. It's about knowing that you are divinely guided now in this very moment, and that your outer world must inevitably conform to this new inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in turning within and living from the state of divine guidance, you'll begin to see evidence of always knowing what to do in your outer world. These signs may start small, an unexpected insight that solves a problem, a chance encounter that provides exactly the information you need, a sudden clarity about a decision you've been struggling with. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world, shaped by your imaginal acts, is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full realization of a life where you always know is now exactly what to do, even in the face of apparent uncertainty. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people first encounter this teaching. Many worry that turning within and relying on their imagination for guidance might somehow disconnect them from reality or lead to impractical decisions. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you truly understand the principle of turning within for guidance, you realize that you are not separate from reality. You are the creator of your reality. As you elevate your own consciousness by connecting with the divine guidance within, you are elevating your ability to navigate the physical world with grace and wisdom. Imagine for a moment that you are standing before a vast ocean. The waves crash upon the shore, each one unique, yet part of the greater whole. You, my dear listener, like that ocean, boundless, powerful, and filled with untapped potential. But how often do you recognize this truth? How often do you look within and acknowledge the divine spark that resides in your very being? Too many of us spend our days feeling adrift, lost in a sea of external circumstances and opinions. We allow the noise of the world to drown out the whispers of our own inner wisdom. But I say to you now with absolute certainty that the key to finding your way to unlocking the treasures of your true self lies not in the outside world, but within you. To focus on yourself is not an act of selfishness, as some might have you believe. No, it is the most profound act of love and respect you can offer to the world. For when you tend to the garden of your own soul, you cultivate beauty in abundance that naturally overflows to all those around you. Consider the acorn. Within its humble shell lies the blueprint of a mighty oak. It does not look to other trees to know how to grow. It does not seek permission from the forest to reach for the sky. It simply turns inward, taps into the wisdom encoded in its very essence, and becomes what it was always meant to be. You, my friend, are no different. Within you lies the seed of greatness waiting to be nurtured and brought forth into the world. But to do so, you must first recognize and embrace this fundamental truth. You are the author of your own story, the creator of your own reality. The feeling of being lost stems from a disconnection from your true self. It is the result of looking outward for answers that can only be found within. When you focus on yourself, you begin to peel away the layers of conditioning and false beliefs that have obscured your vision. You start to hear the quiet voice of your intuition, guiding you towards your true path. Let us delve deeper into this concept. Imagine your mind as a vast unexplored territory, mountains of untapped potential, valleys of hidden talents, rivers of creativity flowing through the landscape of your consciousness. By focusing on yourself, you become the intrepid explorer of this inner world. Each day becomes an opportunity for discovery, for unearthing the treasures that lie dormant within you. But how, you may ask, does one begin this journey of self-focus? The answer, my dear friends, lies in the power of your imagination. For your imagination is not mere fantasy or idle daydreaming. It is the very workshop of creation, the place where your desires and your reality intersect. When you feel lost, close your eyes and imagine yourself as you truly wish to be. See yourself confident, purposeful, radiating with inner peace and joy. Feel the sensation of being that person, of embodying those qualities. For in that moment of imagination, you are planting the seed of your future self in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. This is not mere positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. This is the deliberate use of your God-given faculty of imagination to reshape your self-concept and consequently your entire world. For as within, so without. The world you experience is but a reflection of your inner state of being. To focus on yourself means to take responsibility for this inner world. It means to carefully tend to the garden of your mind, pulling out the weeds of doubt and fear, and planting the seeds of faith and possibility. It means to be vigilant about the thoughts you entertain, the emotions you cultivate, and the beliefs you hold dear. Many of you have been taught that to focus on yourself is somehow wrong or selfish. But I say to you, it is the highest form of service you can offer to the world. For how can you give what you do not possess? How can you lead others out of the darkness if you yourself are lost? By focusing on your own growth, your own alignment with your highest self, you become a beacon of light for others to follow. Consider the great leaders and visionaries throughout history. They did not achieve greatness by conforming to the expectations of others or by losing themselves in the opinions of the masses. No, they dared to look within, to trust their own inner guidance, and to bring forth the unique gifts that only they could offer to the world. You, my dear listener, have a unique purpose, a divine mission that only you can fulfill. But to discover and live this purpose, you must first come home to yourself. You must learn to silence the external noise and listen to the whispers of your own heart. This journey of self-focus is not always easy. It requires courage to face your fears, to confront the limiting beliefs that have held you back. It demands discipline to consistently choose thoughts and actions that align with your highest vision for yourself. But I assure you, the rewards are beyond measure. As you begin to focus on yourself, you will find that the feeling of being lost gradually dissolves. It is replaced by a deep sense of knowing, a certainty about who you are and what you are here to do. This is not arrogance or egotism. It is simply the natural state of a being who has remembered their true identity as a divine creator. Imagine waking up each morning with a clear sense of purpose, feeling fully aligned with your true self. Imagine moving through your day with unshakable confidence, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you are meant to do. This is not a distant dream or an unattainable ideal. This is your birthright, and it becomes your reality when you commit to focusing on yourself. But let me be clear, focusing on yourself does not mean isolating yourself from others or ignoring the world around you. On the contrary, as you become more centered in your true self, you naturally become more connected to all of life. You begin to see the divine in every person you meet, to recognize the interconnectedness of all things. Your relationships improve because you no longer seek validation or completion from others. You come to each interaction whole and complete in yourself, offering your authentic presence as a gift. Your work becomes more fulfilling because it flows from your true passions and talents rather than from a sense of obligation or the need to prove your worth. The key to this transformation lies in your ability to harness the power of your imagination. For your imagination is the bridge between your current reality and the life you desire to live. It is through the consistent, deliberate use of your imagination that you reshape the self-concept, and consequently, your entire world. When you feel lost or overwhelmed, I urge you to pause and turn within. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as the person you wish to be. See yourself moving through life with purpose and grace. Feel the emotions of joy, confidence, and inner peace that naturally arise from living as your true self. Hold this image and these feelings with unwavering faith, knowing that what you can conceive and believe, you can achieve. This practice of imaginative self-focus is not a one-time event. It is a way of life, a continuous process of aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with your highest vision for yourself. It requires persistence and patience, for the outer world does not always change overnight. But I assure you, as you remain faithful to this inner work, your outer world will inevitably conform to your new self-concept. Remember, the feeling of being lost is merely a sign that you have temporarily disconnected from your true self. It is an invitation to turn inward, to reconnect with the wisdom and power that reside within you. Embrace this feeling as a catalyst for growth, as an opportunity to deepen your self-knowledge and strengthen your faith in your own divine nature. As you focus on yourself, you may encounter resistance, both from within and without. Old habits of thinking and behaving may try to reassert themselves. Others in your life may not understand or support your journey of self-discovery. But do not let these obstacles deter you. They are merely tests of your commitment, opportunity to reinforce your new self-concept, and demonstrate the power of your focused imagination. Think of yourself as a sculptor, chiseling away at a block of marble to reveal the masterpiece within. Each day, with each thought and action, you are sculpting your life, revealing more and more of your true self. The feeling of being lost diminishes with each stroke of the chisel, with each act of self-focus and self-alignment. But remember, my dear friends, this work of self-focus is not about reaching a final destination. It is not about becoming a perfect, flawless version of yourself. It is about embracing the journey of continuous growth and self-discovery. It is about falling in love with the process of becoming, of unfolding more and more of your infinite potential. As you focus on yourself, you will find that your definition of success changes. No longer will you measure your worth by external standards or the opinions of others. Instead, you will find fulfillment in being true to yourself, in expressing your unique gifts, in living each day with authenticity and purpose. The world needs you to focus on yourself. It needs you to stop feeling lost and to step into the fullness of who you truly are. For when you do, you become a living example of what is possible. You inspire others to look within themselves, to uncover their own hidden treasures. Imagine a world where each person is fully aligned with their true self, expressing their unique gifts and living their divine purpose. This is not a utopian fantasy. It is the natural result of each individual choosing to focus on themselves, to nurture their own growth and self-realization. As you embark on this journey of self-focus, remember that you are never truly alone. The same power that created the stars and set the planets in motion resides within you. It is always available to guide you, to support you, to illuminate your path. Trust in this power. Lean into it. Allow it to work through you as you focus on becoming the highest version of yourself. The feeling of being lost is not your natural state. It is a temporary condition that arises when you forget your true identity, when you look outside yourself for direction and validation. But I say to you now, everything you need is already within you. The answers you seek, the peace you crave, the purpose you long for, all of these are waiting to be discovered within the depths of your own being. To focus on yourself is to embark on the greatest adventure of your life. It is a journey of self-discovery, of self-creation, of self-realization. It is the path to true freedom, to unshakable peace, to boundless joy. And it begins with a simple choice, the choice to turn inward, to trust your own inner guidance, to believe in the power of your own imagination. As you make this choice day after day, moment by moment, you will find that the feeling of being lost gradually fades away. It is replaced by a deep sense of knowing, a certainty about who you are and why you are here. You begin to move through life with grace and ease, fully present in each moment, fully expressing your unique gifts. But let me caution you, this journey of self-focus is not always comfortable. It will challenge you to confront your fears, to question your long-held beliefs, to step out of your comfort zone. There will be moments of doubt, moments when the old feeling of being lost tries to reassert itself. In these moments, remember that discomfort is often a sign of growth. Embrace it as evidence that you are expanding, evolving, becoming more of who you truly are. As you focus on yourself, you may find that certain relationships or situations in your life begin to change. This is natural and necessary. Just as a snake must shed its old skin to grow, you too must be willing to let go of anything that no longer serves your highest good. Trust in this process of renewal and transformation. Know that as you align more fully with your true self, you naturally attract people and circumstances that support your growth and reflect your new self-concept. Remember, my dear friends, that to focus on yourself is not a selfish act. It is the most loving thing you can do for yourself and for the world. For as you nurture your own growth, as you cultivate your own inner peace and joy, you naturally become a source of inspiration and upliftment for others. Your very presence becomes a blessing, a reminder to all who encounter you of their own divine potential. So I urge you, stop searching outside yourself for direction or validation. Stop allowing the opinions and expectations of others to dictate your path. Turn within and focus on yourself. Explore the vast landscape of your own consciousness. Uncover the treasures that lie hidden within you. Trust in the wisdom of your own heart, in the power of your own imagination. As you do this, you will find that the feeling of being lost becomes a distant memory. It is replaced by a deep sense of purpose, a knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you are meant to do. You move through life with grace and ease, fully present in each moment, fully expressing your unique gifts. This, my dear friends, is what it means to truly live. This is what it means to fulfill your purpose. And it all begins with the simple yet profound choice to focus on yourself, to believe in your own inherent divinity, to trust in the power of your own imagination to shape your reality. So I say to you now, with all the love and conviction in my heart, focus on yourself. Stop feeling lost. Embrace the magnificent being that you truly are. Step into the fullness of your divine potential. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you contribute to the transformation of the entire world. Remember, you are not here by accident. You are not a random collection of cells and experiences. You are a divine being, created in the image and likeness of God, endowed with the power to create your reality through the focused use of your imagination. Embrace this truth. Live from this understanding and watch as your life unfolds in ways more beautiful and miraculous than you ever dared to dream. As we draw this talk to a close, I want you to take a moment to reflect on what you've heard. Feel the truth of these words resonating within you. Recognize that the power to change your life, to find your purpose, to stop feeling lost has always been within you. It is not something you need to acquire or achieve. It is your birthright, waiting to be claimed. From this moment forward, commit to focusing on yourself with unwavering dedication. Commit to nurturing your inner world, to cultivating thoughts and feelings that align with your highest vision for yourself. Commit to using your imagination deliberately and consistently to shape your self-concept, and consequently your reality. As you leave this place and return to your daily lives, carry this message with you. Let it be a beacon of light guiding you back to yourself whenever you feel lost or overwhelmed. Remember that within you lies infinite potential, waiting to be expressed. You are the author of your own story, the creator of your own reality. Focus on yourself, my dear friends. Stop feeling lost. Step into the magnificence of who you truly are. For in doing so, you not only transform your own life, but you become a living example of what is possible for all of humanity. You become a light in the world, illuminating the path for others to follow. Go forth with confidence, with faith, with an unwavering commitment to your own growth and self-realization. Know that as you focus on yourself, as you align more fully with your true nature, you naturally fulfill your divine purpose. You become a blessing to the world simply by being your authentic self. Remember, the feeling of being lost is not your natural state. It is merely a sign that you have temporarily forgotten who you truly are. But now you know the truth. Now you have the tools to reconnect with your inner wisdom, to tap into your infinite potential, to create the life you desire. So I say to you one last time, focus on yourself. Stop feeling lost. Embrace the journey of self-discovery and self-creation. Trust in the power of your imagination to shape your reality. Believe in the divinity within you and watch as miracles unfold in your life. You are more powerful than you know. You are more loved than you can imagine. You are here for a divine purpose. Embrace this truth. Live from this understanding and let your light shine brightly in the world. For in doing so, you not only fulfill your own destiny, but you inspire others to do the same. Go now with my blessings and with the full knowledge of your own divine nature. Focus on yourself. Stop feeling lost and step into the fullness of who you truly are. The world is waiting for your unique gifts, for the expression of your true self. Do not keep it waiting any longer. The time is now. You are ready. Embrace your power. Embrace your purpose. Embrace the magnificent being that you are. And so it is. Consider for a moment the energy you expend in begging the universe for your desires. The constant pleading, the endless affirmations, the relentless visualization exercises. This begging, my dear listeners, is the very thing keeping you from receiving. It is a game you can never win, for in the act of begging, you affirm the absence of what you seek. But I say unto you, there is another way, a way that aligns with the very fabric of creation, a way that harnesses the power of your imagination and the law of assumption. This way is not about begging, but about becoming. It is not about doing, but about being. When you beg for something, you are operating from a state of lack. You are telling the universe, I do not have this, and so I must plead for it. But the universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not respond to your pleas. It responds to your state of being, to the assumptions you hold about yourself and your world. Imagine, if you will, a man who desperately wants to be wealthy. He begs the universe for money, constantly affirming, I am rich, while feeling poor. He visualizes wealth, all the while with his empty bank account. This man, despite his efforts, finds that wealth eludes him. Why? Because in his relentless begging, he is affirming his current state of lack. He is living from the assumption that he does not have wealth. And so the universe faithfully reflects this assumption back to him. Now consider another man. This man, rather than begging for wealth, assumes a state of wealth. He lives from the end, feeling the naturalness of being wealthy. He does not plead for money, for in his mind, he already has it. His actions flow not from a place of lack, but from a place of abundance. And lo and behold, opportunities for wealth begin to present themselves to him, seemingly out of nowhere. This, my friends, is the art of effortless manifestation. It is not about inaction, but about inspired action. It is about aligning your inner state with your desired outcome, and then allowing the universe to orchestrate the means. But how, you may ask, does one make this shift? How does one stop the begging and start the receiving? The answer lies in the power of your wonderful human imagination. For your imagination is not a mere fantasy maker. It is the very workshop in which reality is forged. When you imagine yourself in the state of your wish fulfilled, when you assume the feeling of your desire realized, you are not engaging in idle daydreaming. You are engaging in the most powerful creative act known to man. You are impressing upon your subconscious mind a new concept of self, a new assumption about your reality. Let us take a moment to truly understand this. Your subconscious mind does not distinguish between what you vividly imagine and what you actually experience in the outer world. It accepts as true whatever you feel to be true. And once it accepts an idea as true, it proceeds to bring it into manifestation in your physical reality. So when you stop begging and instead assume the state of already having what you desire, you are not being passive. You are actively creating your reality from within. You are aligning yourself with the creative power of the universe, allowing it to work through you and for you. This, my dear listeners, is the essence of effortless manifestation. It is about recognizing that what you seek is already within you, waiting to be expressed. It is about understanding that the outer world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner assumptions. Consider the biblical phrase, before they call, I will answer. This is not about some external deity responding to your prayers. It is about the creative power within you, which knows your desires even before you consciously formulate them. When you align yourself with this power, when you live from the assumption of your wish fulfilled, you allow this inner wisdom to guide you towards the manifestation of your desires. But let me be clear, this is not about sitting idly and waiting for things to magically appear in your life. It is about a fundamental shift in consciousness. When you truly embody the state of your wish fulfilled, your actions naturally align with that state. You begin to think, speak, and act from the perspective of already being or having what you desire. Let us explore this further with an example. Imagine a woman who desires a loving relationship. In the old paradigm of begging, she might constantly affirm, I am in a loving relationship, while feeling lonely. She might visualize her perfect partner, all the while acutely aware of their absence. But in doing so, she is affirming her current state of being single and searching. Now imagine this same woman shifting her approach. Instead of begging for a relationship, she assumes the state of being in a loving partnership. She feels the joy, the security, the companionship in her imagination. She lives each day from this assumption, carrying herself with the confidence and contentment of someone who is deeply loved. In this state, she no longer desperately seeks a partner. She may still go on dates, but she does so from a place of fullness rather than lack. And in doing so, she becomes magnetic to the very love she desires. She allows it to come to her, drawn by the power of her assumption and the clarity of her vibration. This principle applies to every area of your life, my friends. Whether you seek wealth, health, success, or any other desire, the key is to stop begging and start embodying. For what you are seeking is also seeking you, but it can only find you when you align yourself with its frequency. Now I can hear some of you thinking, but Neville, isn't this just positive thinking? Isn't this denial of my current reality? And to this I say emphatically no. This is not about denying your current circumstances. It is about understanding the true nature of reality. Your current circumstances are nothing more than the fruit of your past assumptions and beliefs. They have no power to determine your future unless you give them that power by continuing to focus on them. When you shift your focus, when you assume a new state, you are not denying reality. You are exercising your divine right to choose which reality you wish to experience. Remember, the outer world is dead. It has no life of its own. It is your consciousness that gives life to your experiences. When you beg the universe for things, you are begging a shadow, a reflection of past states of consciousness. But when you change your consciousness, when you assume a new state, you cause the outer world to rearrange itself to match your new assumption. This, my dear friends, is the true secret of effortless manifestation. It is about aligning yourself with the law of assumption, recognizing that what you seek is seeking you, and allowing it to flow into your experience through the power of your imagination and belief. But let me warn you, this is not always an easy path. The old habits of begging, of pleading, of efforting are deeply ingrained in our collective consciousness. As you embark on this new way of being, you may find resistance arising within you. Doubts may creep in. Old patterns may try to reassert themselves. When this happens, do not fight against these thoughts and feelings. Simply observe them, acknowledge them, and then gently return to your new assumption. For the war is not won by fighting against what you don't want, but by persistently embodying what you do want. Think it like tuning a radio. When you're trying to listen to a particular station, you don't focus on eliminating all the other stations. You simply tune into the frequency you desire. In the same way, you don't need to fight against your current reality or forcefully push away unwanted circumstances. You simply need to tune yourself to the frequency of your desire, to align yourself with the state of your wish fulfilled. This aligning, this tuning is done through your imagination. Your imagination is the dial that allows you to tune into different frequencies of experience. As you use your imagination to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, you are tuning yourself to that frequency, allowing the corresponding experiences to flow into your life. But remember, my friends, this is not a one-time event. It is a way of life. Just as you wouldn't expect to stay in shape by exercising once, you cannot expect to manifest your desires by imagining once. This is about persistently assuming the state of your wish fulfilled, about living from that state day in and day out until it becomes your new normal. As you do this, you will find that the very concept of begging begins to fade from your consciousness. For how can you beg for what you already are? How can you plead for what you already have? This shift in perception is the key to effortless manifestation, to receiving your desires with grace and ease. Now, some of you may be wondering, but what about gratitude? Aren't we supposed to be grateful for what we want to manifest? And to this I say, yes, gratitude is indeed a powerful force in manifestation. But there is a crucial distinction to be made. The gratitude that leads to effortless manifestation is not the gratitude of lack, where you thank the universe for something you don't yet have. It is the gratitude of fulfillment, where you feel genuinely thankful for already having your desire in the realm of imagination. When you feel grateful from this place of fulfillment, you are not begging. You are acknowledging the reality of your desire in the only place it truly exists, in your consciousness. This kind of gratitude aligns you with the frequency of your desire, making its manifestation in the physical world a natural, effortless process. Consider for a moment how you feel when you receive a gift you truly love. You don't beg for the gift after you've received it, do you? You simply feel grateful, joyful, appreciative. This is the feeling state you want to cultivate in relation to your desires. Feel as if you've already received them, and let your gratitude flow from that place of fulfillment. This shift from begging to receiving, from effort to effortlessness, is not just about manifesting specific desires. It is about fundamentally changing your relationship with the universe, with reality itself. It's about recognizing your true nature as a divine creator, as an extension of the infinite creative power of the universe. When you truly grasp this, you'll understand why begging is not only unnecessary but counterproductive. Begging implies that what you want is somewhere out there, separate from you, controlled by some external force that you need to appease or convince. But the truth is, everything you desire already exists within you, in the infinite realm of possibility that is your consciousness. Let's take a moment to really let this sink in. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing so. Take a deep breath. And as you exhale, feel yourself letting go of the need to beg, to plead, struggle. Feel yourself sinking into a state of receiving, of knowing that what you desire is already yours. In this state of receiving, you become a magnet for your desires. You're no longer pushing against reality, trying to force it to conform to your wishes. Instead, you're aligning yourself with the natural flow of creation. You're becoming a channel through which your desires can easily manifest. But remember, this state of receiving is not a passive state. It requires active participation on your part. You must consciously choose, moment by moment, to live from the end, to feel the feelings, think the thoughts, and take the inspired actions of someone who already has what you desire. This might feel challenging at first, especially if you've been in the habit of begging for a long time. You might find your mind wanting to slip back into old patterns of pleading and lack. When this happens, don't fight it. Simply observe these thoughts and feelings, acknowledge them, and then gently guide your attention back to the state of your wish fulfilled. Think of it like training a puppy. When the puppy wanders off, you don't scold it or punish it. You simply gently bring it back to where you want it to be. Do the same with your mind. Each time you catch it wandering into thoughts of lack or separation from your desire, gently bring it back to the feeling of fulfillment, of already having what you want. As you practice this, you'll find that staying in the state of your wish fulfilled becomes easier and more natural. It becomes your default state, the lens through which you view and interact with the world. And as this happens, you'll start to notice changes in your outer world. These changes might be subtle at first. Perhaps you'll notice that people respond to you differently, or that opportunities you never noticed before suddenly seem to appear, or that solutions to problems come to you effortlessly. These are all signs that your inner shift is creating ripples in your outer reality. Don't discount these small changes. Celebrate them. See them as confirmation that the law is working, that your assumption is taking root. But don't become attached to them or anxiously look for them. Simply acknowledge them with gratitude and continue to live from your assumed state. As you persist in this practice, larger changes will begin to manifest. The full realization of your desire will unfold in ways that might surprise and delight you. But remember, the outer manifestation is not the goal. The goal is the state of consciousness from which your desire naturally flows. This is a crucial point, my friends. When you're truly living from the end, when you're fully embodying the state of your wish fulfilled, you no longer need the outer manifestation to feel complete. You're already whole, already fulfilled in your imagination. And paradoxically, it's in this state of completeness that your desires flow most easily into your experience. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Neville, what about action? Don't we need to do something to bring our desires into manifestation? And to this I say, yes, action is part of the process. But it's inspired action, not frantic doing. When you're living from the end, ideas and opportunities will naturally present themselves to you. You'll feel inspired to take certain actions, to move in certain directions. These actions won't feel like effort or struggle. They'll feel natural, joyful, almost effortless. This is the difference between begging and receiving. When you're begging, actions feel forced, stressful, born out of fear and lack. When you're receiving, actions flow naturally from your assumed state, guided by an inner wisdom that knows exactly how to bring your desires into manifestation. Consider the example of a flower. A flower doesn't beg for sunlight, water, or nutrients. It simply grows naturally, extending its petals towards the sun, its roots towards water and nutrients. It receives these elements effortlessly, and in doing so, it fulfills its nature and purpose. You, my dear listeners, are no different. You are a divine creature, imbued with the same creative power that brings forth worlds. When you align yourself with this power, when you assume the state of your wish fulfilled, you allow the universe to bring to you all that you need for the manifestation of your desires. But let me be clear, this receiving is not passive. It requires an active use of your imagination, a deliberate assumption of the state of your wish fulfilled. It requires faith, not blind faith in an external power, but faith in the creative power of your own consciousness. This faith is not about believing that your desire will manifest someday in the future. It's about believing that your desire is already yours in the realm of imagination, and that the outer world must inevitably conform to this inner reality. As you cultivate this faith, as you persist in your assumption, you'll begin to see evidence of your desire manifesting in your outer world. These signs may start small: an overheard conversation that confirms your assumption, an unexpected opportunity that aligns with your desire, a shift in how others respond to you. Do not discount these signs, no matter how small they may seem, for they are confirmation that your inner world is indeed shaping your outer reality. They are breadcrumbs leading you to the full manifestation of your desire. As we near the conclusion of our discussion, I want to address a common concern that arises when people first encounter this teaching. Many worry that if they stop begging for their desires and instead live from the end, they'll become complacent or lose their motivation. But I assure you, my friends, the opposite is true. When you're living from the end, when you're aligned with your true desires, you become more motivated, more inspired than ever before. But it's a different kind of motivation. It's not the frantic, anxious energy of someone desperately begging for a goal. It's the calm, confident energy of someone who knows their desire is already theirs. In this state, you take inspired action, not because you feel you have to, but because you want to. You move through life with a sense of joy and anticipation, eager to see how your inner state will manifest in your outer world. This is a true gift of letting go of begging and embracing receiving. It's not just about manifesting specific desires, although that will happen. It's about aligning yourself with the flow of life, with the creative power of the universe. It's about recognizing your own divine nature and allowing it to express itself fully through you. In this state of alignment, of receiving, you become a channel for the infinite possibilities of the universe. Ideas flow to you effortlessly. Opportunities present themselves naturally. The right people and circumstances appear in your life at the perfect time. This is the magic of living from the state of your wish fulfilled. But remember, this magic is not something external to you. It's not some cosmic force that you need to appease or manipulate. It is the natural expression of your own consciousness when it's aligned with truth. You are the magic. You are the miracle. You are the creative power you've been seeking. As we draw our time together to a close, I want to leave you with a final thought. The principle we've explored tonight, start begging, start receiving, the art of effortless manifestation, is not just a technique for manifesting desires. It's a way of life. It's about recognizing your true nature as a divine, created being. It's about aligning yourself with the fundamental laws of the universe. When you live from this understanding, everything changes. The world becomes a friendly place, filled with infinite possibilities. You no longer see yourself as a small, separate being struggling against external forces. Instead, you recognize yourself as the creator of your reality, the author of your life story. In this state, there's no need to beg for anything. For you understand that everything you desire is already within you, waiting to be expressed. Your job is simply to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to live from the end, and to allow the universe to take care of the details. So, my dear friends, as you leave here tonight, I urge you to let go of begging. Stop pleading, stop struggling, stop efforting. Instead, turn within. Use your mighty imagination to assume the state of your wish fulfilled. Feel the naturalness of being or having what you desire. Live from this state, persist in this assumption, and watch as the universe rearranges itself to match your inner vision. Remember, you are not a helpless being pushed around by external circumstances. You are the operant power in your world. Your consciousness is the one and only reality. All things are possible to him who believes, for belief shapes reality. Go forth from here with this knowledge. Apply it in your life. Test it, prove it to yourself. For in doing so, you'll discover the truth of who you really are. You'll tap into the limitless power that has always been within you. And you'll experience the joy, the freedom, the fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with the laws of creation. The world is waiting for you, my friends, not as something to beg from, but as something to receive with open arms. It's waiting for you to recognize your true power, to step into your divine nature, to become the person you're meant to be. So stop begging. Start receiving. For in truth, everything you desire is already yours. All you need to do is open your arms, open your heart, and allow it to flow into your experience.